So Isaiah Simmons to the New York Giants for only a 7th round pick. Now I'm going to tell you guys, today's video will be a longer one because what I want to do is ensure that I fully prepare New York Giants fans for everything they can expect and understand what they're actually getting in Isaiah Simmons, because I've seen a lot of bad takes. Some people saying he's a nickel corner, some people saying he's the inside linebacker beside Bobby Orike. And at first glance, I looked at it, I said, okay, you got this pick, you only gave up a 7th round pick. You bring in Isaiah Simmons, he was the 8th overall pick just a few years ago. Fine, put him beside Bobby Orike. But the more I watch the film, that's not how I'm seeing it anymore. I think that I looked at a lot of things, and the first thing I want to say is that I didn't see the guy that I saw at Clemson, and understanding that he's not a rookie, this is not a rookie year, and understand also last year with Vance Joseph as the defensive coordinator, you don't want to say a team has ever quit, but what I saw on film from the Arizona Cardinals, it wasn't just Isaiah Simmons, it was everybody. It was terrible effort. Now, that's not saying that's truly who he is as a player. But when you have that type of thing, that virus, quote unquote, within the locker room, it shows on the defensive football field. And I saw a lot of that for the defense. So I had to pause just a little bit. I still think, and you can see by the title and thumbnail, I still think he's a misunderstood monster. I think he's a hybrid unicorn. But I think we also have to talk about some things because he not only played free safety, he played nickel corner, he played inside linebacker, he played edge rusher, he played all of those positions. But nobody really knows. And I think that talking about linebacker position first, because looking at the current state of the team, I think he's projected to get some looks at the linebacker position, but I just don't see it right now. And you think that with the team, week 1 is right around the corner. So it can happen, but it's going to take some growing pains. If he comes into that position alongside Bobby Orike, it's going to be major growing pains. And I think that you probably think, okay, with the guys we have along the interior with Dexter Lawrence, we can kind of shield this guy and just let him fly around, play football. And hopefully with the interior, that could be a possibility. I do want to say that. It's two ways to look at everything in which I'm about to say, but his instincts aren't up to par. Second thing, he's not physical enough in the run game as a linebacker. And when I saw it on film, he does not get downhill. He looks kind of lost when playing true inside middle linebacker. He looked lost a lot of the times. And then I think there's also the thing that it's because he has so much responsibilities. Okay, I got to play nickel. I know I got to do this. There was times he was lined up as the weak side boundary corner. All 5 positions. I'm talking about 2nd level, 3rd level. He did it all for the Arizona Cardinals. And you say, okay, a jack of all trades and a master of none. But I think that the thing for me is that when I saw him in blitzing, I think that was his best football. When he blitzed off of the edge, when he blitzed up the middle, I think that was his best football. Now transitioning over to the nickel corner position, I'm not a big fan of it because I think that, yes, he's good. He's an athlete. He's 6'4". He's 230. Okay, he can do all of that, but he's not that fluid. And you say, whoa, what are you talking about? The guy that we saw at Clemson, he could get in and out of transitions. He had all these talents and all this athleticism. He's not that guy in coverage as far as man coverage. And it's also not that he's not athletically fit to do it because, of course, we see it 4.39 at that size. But when we're not as fluid, his play recognition. I talked about his instincts from the middle linebacker position, being able to read those keys. When he's in coverage, he looks like sometimes he can't feel out the receiver beside him. He can't feel out the receiver come behind him on the dig or the post. And also times he just can't get to the flat. If it's a bubble screen, he's not blowing up that receiver that's trying to block him. It's those types of things. And then you think that, okay, in man coverage, can he cover these guys in man coverage? He was struggling against tight ends in coverage. So that was something I saw, and I did not expect that. Now, you probably think that at this point in this video, we're just bashing on him. I'm not bashing on him at all. But I have to fully give you everything in which I saw so you could understand who he is, what type of player he is. And we're going to get into the film. Like I said, if you want to get into the film, you can. But I strongly advise you stay here. Got a little more things to say. Now, at the free safety position, and really talking about the free safety and the nickel, is that overhang defender. I don't like it because I think, okay, maybe I could see him playing that for the Giants, but it depends on the role. In as much zone as the Arizona Cardinals play, it looked like he was just out there. He was really just out there. Wasn't really involved in the run game because he's so far out. If you have a too high safety set, he's the nickel getting brought out by that number 2 receiver. So it was those types of things that I saw that, okay, all of this talent And it seemed like they didn't know how to unleash it. And like I said, it could be attributed to that he had to do so many things, so he couldn't really master down one of those positions. It could also be that Vance Joseph didn't know when to pull the right triggers. That could be one thing that we look at. Like I said, the defense really struggled from effort. They missed a lot of tackles across the board, every position. So we talk about that position. And I think that now the last thing is we saw as an edge rusher. He lined up a lot of snaps as that 5 to 7 technique, and I think it was pretty solid. He does have some pass rush moves. I will say that, and I will give it to him. Now, it's time to get into the film, because I've said a lot of things. Like I said, you probably think, okay, this guy doesn't believe in Isaiah Simmons. That's not the case. But we got to understand, what is he? If he doesn't excel at what we think he excels at, and we see the highlight tapes, he is a flash player. He's gonna go out there and make a play. You say, okay, who is this man? But then you watch the full game, you watch all of the tape, and I think that guy could be in there somewhere. But on tape, I did not see it consistently. Now I'm beginning to why I think he can succeed. And if anything, Wink Martindale can get the best out of Isaiah Simmons coming into this year where he's looking for a contract. But it's time to get into it now, finally. So you know what time it is. Let's roll the tape. So right here, like I talked about with that middle linebacker position, one thing we're going to see right here is just not really reacting, not getting downhill. And like I said, it's frustrating when you see it, because I think that we have to say, okay, he hasn't done it enough consistently to understand what are the true keys here, what are the true reads from the inside linebacker position. But then there's also the aspect where we look at it and we say, okay, does he really know what he's doing at all? Is there a baseline there that we can work up from and that we can work with? And I think that at the middle linebacker position, we see it right here as far as physicality, the movements, reading the keys, doesn't get downhill here. I think that it is just not his position. And a lot of people, what I'm seeing is that, okay, plug him beside Bobby Orike. Like I said, that was my first reaction. There's nothing wrong with the first reaction, but that is why I'm here to help you guys understand the player in which you're getting. Now, I think on the flip side of that, and what I said going into this video, how would I use Isaiah Simmons? Contrary to everything I just said, if he's going to be used as a middle linebacker who has man coverage assignments on those running backs, who's blitzing a lot of the times, and letting Bobby Orike be the true guy in the middle who's reading everything out, is the true Mike linebacker, I could understand that aspect, letting him move around, letting him fly around from the middle of the field. But if you're asking him to do the traditional linebacker role, it's going to be a struggle. That's one thing I want to talk about. And we're going to see all of the other talents which add up to me thinking that he can be a guy who flies around. It's kind of that wheel linebacker in the defense, or even the Sam, which can also be called the nickel. And in addition to what I just said, right here in a read option play against Jalen Hurts, and he's just showing off his raw, pure athleticism. And this is where you want Isaiah Simmons. Let him get on the move. But it was questionable to me, because I would see a play like this. I would see a play where he's guarding toss crack and he's just hawking guys down from the backside. But then I see a play where he's lagging around. And I think that comes back to he has to be in the right space mentally, not only just in the game, but I think it was some mental things going on with Isaiah Simmons, because you see a play like this and he looks like a war hawk. You got Jalen Hurts on a read option play, and this is typically a bread and butter call for the Philadelphia Eagles, but there's a handful of true safeties, and not even guys like Isaiah Simmons, not a Jeremy Chin, true safeties who can catch a guy like this on the read option play. So he runs it down. You understand the pure athleticism that he has. And again, on the next episode of Finding Isaiah Simmons, he's lined up as the edge rusher right here. But I think the biggest thing that I see is that he has the freakiest splash plays, and we talk about it again. Not only right here does he keep his contain on Geno Smith, but when he tries to scramble out, he's right there. Does not let him scramble. Geno takes the check down, and these are the effort plays. These are the freakish athletic plays that say, okay, put this guy in the Pro Bowl. If you didn't know anything about Isaiah Simmons and you watch this play, you say, this guy is a Pro Bowler. There's no way he can't be one. And it's so funny, because I think a lot of his snaps that I really liked were off of the edge. And you say that, okay, Isaiah Simmons, I think of him, I see him, I know he can do it all, jack of all trades. But what I think he is what he's really not. As I've said before, the reason that I did not like a lot of what I saw at the nickel position is that he just wasn't involved in a lot of plays. You're a nickel, guys can scheme outside of you. You're not as involved in the run game, but what I saw from the linebacker position, I liked when he was in the hook to curl. I liked when he blitzed up the middle, and I loved when he came off of the edge. So you question, where's the consistency in that? And I think Wink Martindale, if he's going to use him how I think he could possibly use him, I think it could work. That is where my room for optimism is. But like I've said before, there's flashes everywhere. And I want to show you guys this play here from the nickel position with Isaiah Simmons, where he has the curl to flat and he comes up aggressively and makes a tackle for a very short gain to show you that he can do it. I'm not saying that he can't cover, but I think a lot of his coverage lapses comes in play recognition and route recognition, because I truly just don't think he's that comfortable. But like I said, we have to think, is he struggling with play recognition and understanding his assignment because he has so many assignments? So I think the first thing you have to do, you have to simplify some things for Isaiah Simmons. Let him shine in a role first. And I want to give some credit to Vance Joseph, because I saw a lot of his snaps. I talked about he played a lot of different positions, but a lot of those snaps were at the nickel position. So it's not saying that they didn't try to give him a shot at one quote unquote solidified position for the duration of the season. I'm gonna be honest, right now, if I'm the New York Giants, I'm watching a lot of film on Kyle Hamilton, seeing how the Baltimore Ravens could get the best out of him. And even I think now he's getting more into a safety role, preparing for this upcoming season. But how they used him as that big nickel, I think he excelled in that role in his rookie season. That is something I can see Isaiah Simmons doing. But it has to be some coaching pointers, some things out of Isaiah Simmons himself. It just wasn't all there last year for the Arizona Cardinals. And right here, this is a play against the Seattle Seahawks. Like I alluded to earlier, he can give you absolute flashes in the pass rush, but you absolutely don't want him as that every down edge player. You got to be very careful with that. And Wink Martindale has to understand some of those things when understanding what Isaiah Simmons triggers to pull. Now, talking about this play, he showcases me some real pass rush skill set, because we talk about attack points when I talk about pass rush. I talked about this with Chris Jones. And when you get in this hand fight, to begin with, the tight end has a really wide punch. He's outside of his pads. He's not inside his chest. So this gives Isaiah Simmons the edge as far as having the pure strength, but he gets to that tap point. He gets to that outside elbow. Now he's pushing off of that and ripping through. That's something we see with great pass rushers. He's showcasing this as a guy who doesn't even get that many pass rush reps. So getting into this type of situation, I think that maybe on a third down look, if he's that middle linebacker, you walk him down to the edge, give crazy looks. Wink Martindale loves to blitz, and regardless of what you say about him, whether you say he blitzes too much or he doesn't know when to not blitz, I think that we have to understand the pressure is coming. So Isaiah Simmons will be used in that role, and I'm talking about, I want you guys to envision right now, if he's going to be that middle linebacker beside Bobby Orike. I think that he does give you a lot of athleticism in coverage, but you got to be very careful. But if he's being used in the blitz aspect of the game like he is right here, if he's guarding running backs in man coverage, maybe even a tight end here or there, I can absolutely see it. If you want to run cover two, I think this is a man-heavy scheme, but if you want to get into some different looks, he can run with guys. So you have some possibilities, but you just got to be careful with the guy like Isaiah Simmons, because he will get exposed in the traditional run defense aspect from the middle linebacker position. So those are the plays that I wanted to show you and really talk about to drive my point about Isaiah Simmons. And now this is where we have our debate. I've said a lot. You understand what I think about the film, what I've said with certain plays, and I want you guys to let me know. How would you unleash him in a Wink Martindale scheme? Is it the linebacker? Is it the big nickel? Is it safety? Different types of things. Is it even edge rusher? Like I said, he lined up at all of these positions last season. But if it were up to me, like I've said, I have to focus a lot of my looks at the big nickel in the linebacker position, but it won't be traditional. He'll be doing a lot of different things, showcasing the athleticism, which I showed you right here, but from different alignments. Now plug that into a linebacker position. And who knows, maybe if with full years working with the linebacker position, he's not playing anything else, maybe he can gain those instincts. Maybe he can continue to work on that and read his keys like a true linebacker. Maybe he can get more physical in that aspect. It's so much raw talent there that, like I said, we do not know. But I think he's still a monster. He's misunderstood. It's a lot there, but Wink Martindale has to unlock it.